to understand that prorated sick leave is the right thing to do.
So can I ask a
No examples.
Can I ask a sub? Just so I'm 100% clear on this. So my wife, she works 3 days a week. And when she started her job, having up until this time only ever worked overseas, was quite surprised that even though she works 3 days a week, she was entitled to have the 10 days that her colleagues who work full-time get. So she's been able to utilise 10 days of sick leave, but only working 3 days a week. So what you're suggesting is that on a proportionality basis, she would essentially get 6 days of leave, there or thereabouts, sick leave, and therefore, if she was sick over a 2-week period, she would still get the 2 weeks off that she would normally work, but she wouldn't get 3 and a bit weeks, unlike her colleagues who are working full-time. Have I got it?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's about proportionality, and you've got it in one.
Yeah, I think that she would think that that makes a lot of sense.
So further to that, Minister,
And then,
given the
Diana.
feedback that you received from businesses about this issue, that is
Hold on a minute.
kind of qualitative evidence.
Hold on a minute. Okay, all right. So let's talk about this. Okay, so wife works 3 days a week, entitled to have 10 days of sick leave. Does she get paid for the full 10 days or for the 3 days? Like in New Zealand, you just get paid for the 3 days you take off.
3 days at a time. But what are you saying, that she can expect to have 3 and a bit weeks off sick compared to her 5-day-a-week colleagues who can only have the equivalent of 2 weeks sick at 5 days? I think that's the point he was trying to make.
Okay. In New Zealand, you just get paid for the 6 days you take off, right?
No. You get paid for the 10 days you take off. So what Carl has pointed out.
But you're not rostered. You're not rostered on though.
Yes, but what it is that you can. So you work 3 days a week, but you get but you use the 10 days over over one shift at 3 days a week. So Carl has made a good point, is the fact that his wife, who only works 3 days a week, can take in theory in sickness, can take 3 weeks off at 3 shifts a week, whereas her colleagues who work 5 shifts a week, who are only getting 10 days sick leave, would take the equivalent of only 2 weeks off work.
Okay.
So he has made that point. But on the other hand, when people are sick, they don't tend to take a whole week off unless it's for things like surgery.
That's that's another thing I was going to say too. It's like it's what sort of sickness are we dealing with here? I think that's what's missing from the equation.
Yeah. And I could say one that would be in there where is, if I was at BP when this happened, when I had my appendicitis, instead of the first 6 weeks into running my coffee cart, I think it's 6 weeks, might be 7th week in business, I would have been an example of 2 weeks off work with sick pay, everything in that scenario. That would be a situation where I would have been given 2 weeks sick pay. Now, I'll be honest, don't tell the surgeon this. I was back at the coffee cart 3 days later running the business. But the work I was doing at the coffee cart wasn't going to cause stitches bursting or any of that sort of stuff anyway. Whereas if I was at BP, I would have put my foot down and not come back to work.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah.
But no, that is possibly the bit he's mentioning on there, is the fact that that 10 days can be spread over 3 weeks instead of 2 because she only works 3 days a week, not 5 days a week.
Yeah.